Welcome to the Blogger Genius Podcast, brought to you by Milo Tree. Here's your host, Jillian Leslie.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Blogger Genius Podcast. I am Jillian Leslie, your host, and I am so happy that you are here because you want to grow your online business. So we are traveling to New York City this week. Episode today,
I am
all about SEO with my favorite popular SEO expert and good friend a couple months ago.
Rollo.
And today we are going to talk about
Paula Rollo.
The 5
in this episode,
SEO
we're talking
wins
about 5
to get
SEO
you
wins
more
to
traffic.
get you
Honestly,
more traffic. Now,
Paula's
if
episodes
you've not listened
are
to this
some
episode,
of
I
my
highly
most popular
recommend
because
you do.
she is
And
so
if you
good
have listened to this episode, this is a
breaking
good one to
down
repeat to see how many of these tips
or
you have
potentially
put into
intimidating
practice.
SEO. Before I get started, I wanted to ask you a question. Are you a blogger or content creator with an audience? So you've got an email list, blog traffic, social media followers, any of those, or hopefully a combination of those. Well, if you are not monetizing your audience, selling digital goods directly to them, I have something exciting for you. It is called Milo Tree Cart, and it is the new payment platform David and I created to help creators like you, female entrepreneurs, sell easy digital goods to your audience. So what does that mean? Well, right now, you could sell a paid workshop, you could sell a membership, you could sell coaching, you can even sell digital downloads, although there's a little hack you need to do by setting it up with a Google link, like in Google Drive, but we are rolling that out momentarily. But it is a free platform to use. We only charge a small transaction fee on sales. So while you're testing, while you're creating free sales pages that we host, while you're seeing what your audience wants from you, it's all free and it's fun and it's easy. And we built this for you because we feel like there is such an opportunity for you to get off of this social media treadmill and really connect with your community. If you have any questions, email me at jillian@milotree.com. I would also love to get on a call with you to help you set this up, but go play around. So head to milotreecart.com and go see how easy this is to turn on a whole new income stream. Now, without further delay, here is my jam-packed SEO podcast episode with Paula Rollo. Paula, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me back. It's always fun to be here.
And it had been too long. And what was so funny is I'm doing all of these exploratory calls, talking to people who have memberships and talk because I want to learn for Milo Tree Easy Payments. And I was on a call with Christy Dosh, and she was talking about her membership, and she listens to the podcast, and she said that my SEO episodes with you, Paula, are her favorite episodes, and because of that, reached out to you and has been doing SEO work with you. So after I got off the call with her, I texted you and I go, "Are your ears burning?" Because we were just talking about how much we love you and how smart you are and how good at SEO you are.
That's so sweet. We've had so much fun doing SEO, and I've learned so much from her business. Like, it's not a zone that I'm normally in. So it's been fascinating to work with her and just so much fun. I love it.
So I call you the SEO expert who works with female content creators.
That's me.
And I think because you're so warm and supportive and not judgy and not bro-y, that I feel like your language as a female content creator is easy to digest.
I like see where you're coming from with that, because I think sometimes it's easy to view SEO as something cold and harsh
and numbers and data. And
right. It is those things, which is fun, but like as female entrepreneurs, you write and you work oftentimes with your heart, and that's where the value is. And we can't like divorce that from SEO. Those two things have to go hand in hand. So
yes. And
I'll
so I was saying that for us creating Milo Tree Easy Payments, we are the female content creator platform to get paid. And you and I were talking about that. Like, it's really nice when we know who our audience is and we know how to serve them.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
And we're going to talk about this at the end, but you're going to be doing a workshop after this to teach people, like a quick win workshop, a 1-hour Zoom call where you're going to go deeper into what we're talking about today, which are 5 quick SEO wins to get you more traffic.
Totally. Because I think what I hear in Facebook groups all the time is people going, I know I need to get on SEO, but it's so overwhelming. I know I need to do more with SEO, but it's just daunting. And it doesn't have to be. It's fun. And there's so many like easy, quick ways to get the traffic that kind of encourage you to keep going and then get really like nerdy with it, that I'm just excited.
And the one thing too, before we pressed record, we went through like, what are the 5 things that we're going to talk about? And they're not numbersy. I mean, they're not. They're really how
True.
to think about your content more strategically.
100%. Yeah.
Okay. So the first tip that you told me we should talk about is stop ignoring your small wins. And what does that mean?
Okay. So this really means, I think that a lot of the time we go after the biggest thing possible, and we are the ultimate guide to X.
So give me an example.
In one blog post. Oh shoot, give me a topic.
Let's do baby sleeping.
Okay, sure. So the ultimate guide to getting babies to sleep. And we think that we need to be in one blog post, how to get your baby to sleep 10 ways. And every possible thing about baby sleeping, because you know what? If I type in baby sleep, I can use my SEO tools and see 1 million people search that a month. I haven't looked it up, but I'm sure it's a lot. And I want to win that. And so that makes sense. So let me write that. And the reality is you would be much better served by going after one little bitty thing, like how to get a baby to sleep when he's teething. And maybe 250 people a month search for that. But there's going to be a lot fewer articles, and winning a keyword that is 250 people a month search for that, and you can be at the top and you can fully answer that one simple, how do I get my baby to sleep when he's teething? You're going to get 250 clicks a month for that. And that's much more valuable than not winning a term that is 1 million a month. Even though it's a great big term, we all want to go after that. We all want to be the ultimate guide, but maybe start first with, how do I answer this one little tiny thing really, 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 really well? And once I tell you how to do it with a teething baby, then maybe next month I'll write, how to get your baby to sleep when he took too long of a nap in the car today. And cover that. And then cover another little tiny thing. And so your site is becoming.
So how to get your baby to sleep when you're traveling.
Yes, that's a huge one. Or when their brother won't sleep, or there's so many ways. And instead of having one post that, let's say even you did win the baby sleep term with this long post. If I'm a tired mom, I don't want to read through 15 different headings that are not applicable to my situation to get to the one that was applicable. And so you're creating an overwhelm and not even serving your reader well by always approaching it from this ultimate guide perspective. There's a time and place for ultimate guides, and we'll get there. But I think that a lot of bloggers get stuck kind of in a rut of not seeing anything from Google because they go, I'm the most thorough thing on baby sleep that there could possibly be. And that's nice, but you're really not helping these like small individual people who are just like, my baby's teething. What do I do?
Okay. This leads into number 2, which is how to win big, which means for the bigger keyword. So let's go back to baby sleeping. I've written now 5 posts on different situations to get my baby to sleep. Yes. And now how do I think about, I now want to start going after bigger keywords.
Totally. So I have in my intake form before I work with anyone, you have to fill out a pretty lengthy form. And I'm giving you a sneak peek of what's in there, because one of the things that's in there is, what are your wildest dreams keywords that you want to rank for? And that is there not because in the 2 weeks that we work together, you're going to reach your wildest dreams keywords. That's not going to happen. Those aren't 2-week keywords. Those are the baby sleep keywords that it's like, this is $1 million a month. You're going to have to work on this for a year to get there. But I want to make sure that the things that we're doing now are heading us in that direction.
And is it possible to get there? Is it possible?
It is possible. It is absolutely possible if the intention is correct. If, sometimes people want to rank for something like best news site. Well, you're not going to do that. You're not Fox/CNN. So you're not going to rank for best news site. The search intention is not going to be you when you type in best news site. Sometimes people want to rank for something that
that's like a product that they could buy at Target.
It's a product. Yeah. Tide. You're not going to rank for Tide.
Right. Okay.
You're not going to rank for Tide Pods. So as long as it's within the realm of like, I'm actually this, not just I want to be this, but I can actually answer this better. You know what? I'm really great at sleep and I could answer baby sleep better than anybody else, but I have to spend the time and do the legwork to communicate to Google that, yeah, like when baby sleep, that's me.
So what does it look like? Okay. Baby sleep. I've done 5 blog posts on different aspects of baby sleep, best music, teething, travel, whatever it is, best swaddle, room temperature, all that.
Every possible angle.
How do I start thinking though about the journey? Am I going to write that tentpole blog post, that cornerstone content where kind of like the spokes, these are all the spokes, and I need that centerpiece to connect everything? Like, what am I working toward?
You are working towards eventually making that piece. And that piece is more of a guide to finding the content on your site than it is everything you could possibly 25 blog posts in one. So
it's more like a directory.
Here's one quick tip about while traveling, but you can see the ultimate guide to sleep while traveling over here.
Got it.
It's more in that lane than it is. I've now combined all 20 of these posts into one 10,000 word blog post, which is what we all tried to do there for a few years.
Yeah.
And it's not what searchers want.
So can you explain that?
You can tell what a searcher wants for a keyword, because I use phrases like search intent. And that seems like, oh, scary. How could I ever know what search intent is? It's actually really easy. SEOs just use big words to sound cool. It's really easy. Go into Google and go incognito and go to Google and type in the
Wait, and if you don't
phrase,
know how to open an incognito window, is one that doesn't have cookies. It doesn't have your tracking. Therefore, if you don't know how to do it with your own browser, Google Chrome incognito window or Firefox incognito window, you'll see how to open this window. So it's kind of like a pure window. Okay, so go on.
It's very easy because search results can be kind of customized to the user. So you don't want to see all of your cookies and stuff like that. Yeah. So you would just go into an incognito window, type in baby sleep and see what comes up. If it's products, then that means Google knows, hey, when people type in baby sleep, they go buy things. And that's why there's the Amazon carousel at the top and the Target carousel below it, and things like that. If it's long form article content, then you know, hey, that's what people want. So you can go and look at the top. I never do more than 5 because more than 5 doesn't matter. No one's looking at those. So the top 5, look at the types of content that they are, and you can feel confident that Google knows when people search these specific words or this specific phrase, this is what they're looking for. And that's how you know that that's what you need to create. And so just because you could answer baby sleep in a longer format and with more details and all of the historical data about how babies have slept since the beginning of time, if that's not what people want when they type that into Google, that's not what you should write.
And so here's the thing that I say, get out of your own bubble. Like you think in your mind, oh, what I will do is I'm going to go create the best, longest, most complete post on this. But I say, go search it, go look at who's ranking, see what they're doing, and be inspired by that. So if it's a long post, okay, you're going to be writing. If the top 3 posts are long posts, chances are you're going to be writing a long post. If it's short posts, chances are you're going to be writing short posts. If they, let's say, have ugly photos, great. There's an opportunity. Put in good photos. If there's no video, and you like making video, make a video. If you can make bulleted lists to make it just easier because you're that crazy mom who hasn't had sleep in 2 months, like that mom doesn't really want to read a whole thesis on this. They just want quick tips. So just be thinking about the person searching and what state of mind they're in, but also look around at what is doing well. And chances are it's doing well for a reason, and be inspired by it, but also try to up the game if you can.
Absolutely. Because your instinct will be right a lot of the time, but sometimes it can be really, really off. There's been some keywords that, I was like, hey, this needs to be done really, really thorough. Let me go in. This post is like almost ranking at the top. Let me go in and let me add more fluff to it to make it bigger and better than everybody else. And I actually lost rank because people wanted the quick and easy answer. And I was making them read through the historical information about how much I knew on the topic before I gave them the like quick, easy win answer that they needed and that they were Googling for. And so they didn't even scroll down to get to my answer that was better than everybody else's answer, because I wasn't actually serving them the best way by adding in all of that. So it's a delicate balance, and sometimes your instincts can be off. So it's good to just kind of evaluate and go, hey, who's winning now? And how can I be a little bit better?
Yep. Okay. Let's go to
not super, super different, but better.
That's good. All right. Let's go to number 3. I thought this was an interesting thing you said. Get out. This is the top 3 tips. Get out of Google Analytics. What?
Yeah. And I'm a fan of Google Analytics. I'm not telling you Google Analytics is bad, but your biggest traffic wins are not in Google Analytics.
Meaning going through my Google Analytics and seeing what has done well for me.
Yes. So the reason that your big wins aren't there is because Google Analytics is telling you your past, and Google Search Console, which is what I love to use when I'm looking for quick wins, Google Search Console will tell you your future.
Okay. So
here's the thing. In Google Analytics, if I go in and I go, oh my gosh, my How to Get a Baby to Sleep is doing great. Let me update it. Let me improve it. Well, if I'm already winning in Google for How to Get My Baby to Sleep, I can't win any harder than position 1. So I can make that post better. And there's nothing wrong with making a post better, but it's not going to give me more traffic than it's already giving me because I'm already winning. And so if I'm only looking at what's already winning, I can't win it more.
Right.
I can't make more people search How to Get Your Baby to Sleep. Only however many of 250 are going to search that. And I'm going to get those 250 clicks. And that's amazing. And that's awesome. And I want to, but it's not going to tell me, hey, this post who got 0 clicks could have also been getting 250 clicks. And that's what Google Search Console will tell you.
Okay. So if you have a blog, hopefully you have Google Analytics installed. And if you do not have Google Search Console installed, please pause this right now and go Google how to install Google Analytics and get it installed in Google Analytics. I always think of it this way, but I like your new way of thinking about it. Google Analytics is how kind of people see your site. And Google Search Console is how Google sees your site.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, good. All right. So now we have 2 new ways of thinking about it. Therefore, though, so Google Analytics is saying this many people clicked on this blog post and they came to my site. But Google Analytics is telling you what are the keywords Google is serving up with your content that people are searching for these keywords, and it's driving to your content.
That's exactly right. And it tells you where you are on the page most of the time. Are you in position 1? Are you in position 100? Are you in position, the sweet spot is to look the quickest wins or to look for the 3 to 5s. Because if you're in position 5, you're not going to see that post in Google Analytics, because who Googles something and scrolls down to the middle of the page of Google and clicks? Nobody. You're going to look at the first like 3. And if Google didn't get your search intent, using that same phrase again, because it's not scary, it's easy. It's just what you wanted to search for. If Google did not understand your intention for that search in the first 3 things, you scroll back up to the top and you type something else in. We all do it. So if you're on position 5, you're not going to see that in Google Analytics. However, Google Search Console will tell you, hey, you're in position 5. And if you do some tweaks, and if you just move up 2 spaces to position 3, suddenly you will see that in Google Analytics and you will get that traffic.
Ooh, okay. So your solution or your strategy for the quick win to get traffic is go into Search Console, look for where you are doing well, but not terrifically well. Look for where you are in position on the first page, but in say position 3 to 5, isn't it like, aren't there 10 still on the first page of Google?
Yeah. Around 10 is the first page.
Okay. So if you're position 9, like you can do some work. So would you say this? I see I'm in position 9. I'm position 3 through 9. Like those are the ones I want to work on.
Yeah.
I go open an incognito window. I go search for that keyword. I see what comes up. I see what my competitors are doing, especially number 1 and number 2. And I think to myself, how can I improve my post to beat those posts?
Yes, that would be a great first step.
Now, what are the quickest things I could do in that post to get it up?
Okay, so there's another thing that looks intimidating in Google Search Console that's not. And up at the top, when you're doing this, you'll see a thing that says CTR. You want to make sure that that's clicked, and it will give you a percentage ranking for each of the search terms. It'll just say, it's a little column in there, and it's labeled CTR, and it gives you a percent. And what that is, it's just click through rate. And that's Google's doing the complicated math for you. That's why it's one of those things that looks scary, and it's really not. Google's doing the math for you of how many people saw your result in Google. They saw you and they chose to click. So if you see that CTR and it's very, very low.
What is low? Give me what is low.
Low is very dependent on what position you're in.
Okay.
If you're in position 1, you want that to be a 50% or higher.
Got it.
If you're in position 2 or 3, it's going to be 20% would be good.
Okay.
Because you're competing, you're seen without scrolling. If you're in position 3, your result will be seen without the person having to scroll, but more than likely they're going to click the number 1.
Got it.
So a 20% for position 3 is good. But if it's like in the single digits, that's like alarm, something is wrong. And that's when you go in and you go, let me look at the result, how it's showing in Google, just like you said. And then you can go in and change your meta description, update the SEO title in Yoast. If you're using Yoast, I hope you're using Yoast. Most of you, I'm sure, are using the Yoast plugin, but you go into that area.
And by the way, there's a free version. Start there.
There's a free version. Totally start there. And you put in edit your meta description, but look at those top 3 results and say, what's more interesting about their description than mine? What's more interesting about their SEO title than mine? Because what's also great is you can leave your title of the blog post the exact same as it is, but change around the Yoast title. It's at the very bottom of the post. And that's what's going to appear in the search results is the Yoast title. So you can make that, it needs to include your keyword, but you can make it a bit more clickbaity or add something like best for 2022 there, where I would never put a year in the blog post title itself. But I would in the Yoast title, and I'd make myself a note to do it next year to update it. But
I love that. That is a great tip.
Because sometimes you can even be ranking number 1 or 2, but your click-through rate is 3%. And that means something's wrong with your meta description and title and something in there.
Well, it's a thing of you spend an hour, 2 hours writing a newsletter. But if nobody clicks on the headline, who cares? And it's the same thing. Like you have to be putting catchy terms in there to get people to open your email. Same thing with your blog post.
Absolutely.
I love it. So it's like your market. That's like your marketing. That's your quick grab. You want to grab somebody's attention.
It is. And it's not, when you update that meta description and stuff, I don't want you to be alarmed that then if you go Google it immediately, it's not going to update in Google immediately. You have to wait for Google to recrawl it. And that can take anywhere from a couple of days to a couple of weeks, depending on your site. So don't stress out about that. Like, the click-through rate hasn't improved the next day, so I need to edit it again. Give it some time. Really think about it strategically, make a good change, and then give it a couple of weeks and see if your click-through rate improves and things like that, because you have to give Google some time to look at everything again and put you in the right spot.
What I hear you saying is content creators love creating content and love helping people. And that's a big part of it, because that shows in your post. I really love this. I love cooking, or I love crafting, and it means something to me. And I think that we as female creators are so good at that. And what I think you're saying is there's then a kind of marketing layer on top, which is not icky. It is, I want my love, like this post, I put so much of my love and my soul into this post, and I want to touch other people with the content that I'm creating, with the solutions that I know, whether it be a quick recipe or something like that, or getting my baby to sleep. But in order to get people to find me, I can't be hiding, or I can't be thinking they'll find me if it's good enough. No, this is where you learn to reach out, to figure out how to optimize that layer on top of it so that people find you, so that people then discover. And then once they click and they see your soul and they see your heart and they see how much you want to help, then they go, oh my God. Then they're on your page longer. They're reading through, they're clicking around, and all of that information goes back to Google and says, hey, here's some really solid content. This is a really great blogger, content creator. So we can start to trust you, but you have to put that added attention to get your stuff found.
If it feels intimidating to add, how do I make a SEO optimized, keyword rich meta description? That seems like ick, right? Pour your heart and soul into the meta description, how you would want to communicate it to the reader, get it how you like it, and then go back and figure out where you can put your keyword in. You can kind of reverse it that way. If you're a very heart heavy writer, which is awesome, let that come through, because then the person knows what to expect when they get to your blog post. That expectation has already been set in the Google search results of like, oh, this woman gets me. This is amazing. And then you add in the bit that's needed for the robot, which is the actual keyword.
I love
so
that.
You can kind of like approach it however you think about it best, but don't be afraid to add in the things for the robots after you've written your heart out for your reader.
I love that. I love that. I love that. All right. Number 4, ready? Calling yourself an expert.
Yes.
And we get a little, again, as content creators, we go, I'm working with all these people, helping them set up like a paid workshop. And I start with, what are you an expert in? And I get like this look of terror, because what do you mean I'm an expert in something? And I say expert, small e. And I also say, where are you just one step ahead of your audience? And then their shoulders come down and they can take a breath. But Google wants you to tell them, I'm an expert. Hey, I'm pretty cool about, like, I'm an expert. So will you talk to me about that from Google's perspective?
Yeah. So from Google's perspective, they want to send people to high quality results on an individual level and on a site-wide level. And that's where you hear, again, scary SEO terms that aren't bounce rate, things like that. Like Google's paying attention to, if somebody clicked through this result, how long did they stay on the page? Did they stay and consume the content? Then that's a good quality signal to Google, and that's great. Did they go to another page on the site? That's a good quality signal to Google. If there's nowhere else for the person to go, if there's not enough there for them to read, like there's just little signals like that. Each one alone is not going to make or break your site, but altogether it can make you seem much more high quality to Google if you are doing things like keeping people on the page because they're reading and getting them to click through to a second page. Google's like, whoa, super high quality. This person is an expert in baby sleep, because not only did they read the baby sleep while teething, they then clicked over and read best products for teething babies. And then they took another action. Google knows all of that stuff. It's creepy. They're tracking them, but they know. So having enough there that the robots can tell through human behavior that you're an expert is what you're trying to do. This is not like a gimmicky, like, trick Google. You're not tricking Google into anything. Google's monitoring what the humans are doing. So if the humans are viewing you as a quality site with quality content, Google's going to go, oh, this person is an expert. They have quality content that the humans are liking, because that's all that the robots are trying to do, is make the humans happy.
So what I would say is, even if when I say, what are you an expert in? And you feel like a poser, like your imposter syndrome alarm just starts going off, I'm going to say, fake it till you make it. Meaning in your writing, in everything you're putting out there, you present yourself as an expert. Again, you only have to be one step ahead. I'm not saying go lie that you've got a PhD or that, you've got all these credentials. It's not that. It's about presenting this content in a way that people go, oh yeah, I should follow you. Oh yeah, I should listen to you. And especially if you've got strategies to get your baby to sleep and they work.
Yeah. And it really can just be in your tone. It's saying, this got my baby to sleep 9 times out of 10, instead of, this worked for my baby, but I don't know, maybe something else will work for your baby. Different things work for different people. That's not fun to read. Even though it's accurate, you never said you're a terrible mom if this doesn't work for you. And no one's going to read that into what you're saying, but you just say, this works 9 times out of 10 for me, and I hope it does for you too.
Absolutely. And I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to give you I'm going to tell you what kind of essential oils I've been, you're going to kind of paint the picture, but this is such an important thing. And again, I've seen this now so many times. Lean into your expertise, lean into it, because chances are you do know something. And again, don't lie, but fake it till you make it. Like, step in, because I was talking to another middle-aged mom, and we were saying that thing, like, nobody kind of all of a sudden you reach 35 or 40 and somebody anoints you as something.
Right.
Like you become the best expert on X. No, it's like you saying, hey, I have all this experience. Maybe I am pretty good at this. It's like, you've got to walk through the door. Like, nobody's opening the door and leading you in. You find the door, you open it, and you walk through it.
Yeah. And I think that one of the reasons SEO resonates with me personally, and maybe this will help other people too, is that in person, I'm very shy and awkward, because I have this, I am, but I have this like internal dialogue that's unhealthy, and I recognize that it is, but I'm like, well, maybe they don't want to actually hear my opinion. And maybe what Jill has to say is way more interesting than what I have to say. And so I'm just going to be quiet. But if someone types something into Google, and especially with parenting, right? Like, you don't want to be the person who's shoving your parenting advice down someone else's throats. Like, all of the memes are made about that. And no, in person. But if someone is typing into Google, how do I do this? They want your opinion. This is not the same as walking up to a mom at the playground and being like, I hear your baby crying. Let me tell you what you should do. That's the mom sitting at the playground frantically Googling, how do I make the baby stop crying? And you're helping her. She's asked you for advice, and she's already there because she wants to hear your advice. So it's different than you inserting yourself. It's someone asked you a question, answer the question, and don't disvalue or discredit what you have to say when someone's asked you and sought out your advice. So there is a little bit of a difference there. And if you can get into that mindset of, somebody asked me, that's a lot easier to step into. Like, I can have an SEO conversation with you all day, but if we were at a table of 5 or 6 people and people were talking SEO, I probably wouldn't speak up because of my personality. But you know what? People are on the podcast and they're listening because they wanted to hear what I had to say. So I have no problem giving my advice and my thoughts and all of the things, because you opted in to listen to my voice this morning. But if we were at brunch with 10 different people, I'd be like, I'll let somebody else share because I don't want to overstep.
I want to take a short break to talk about my blog post checklist, which I recommend you snag right now, especially since we are talking about SEO. All you do is print it out. It's a PDF, put it on your desk, and go through it as you're writing blog posts. And this way, you will make sure that your posts are optimized both for your audience and for Google. So to get your copy, head to milotree.com/blog post checklist. So it's milotree.com blog post checklist. So go grab yours now. And now back to the show. Now let's talk about roundup posts because this speaks to experts, to being an expert.
Yes,
so talk about what a roundup post is and how people kind of did them in the past and your recommendation for doing them today.
Yes. So there's in the past, it was like 100 ways to X, 100 Easter crafts for kids, 100, all of the things, right? And that's fine. There's time and a place for those still today. And in certain niches, it's more valuable than others. But I think that what a lot of people are
but when you were doing the 100 Easter crafts, you were going out into the internet, going to other people's blogs, saying, hey, can I link to your post? Can I take a photo and add it to my blog so that your blog would be this compilation of content, but a lot of it, most of it wasn't your content.
If not all. I used to do roundups. I literally used to do roundups where I did not have a single listing in my own roundup.
Okay.
Because I was like, oh, sensory boxes are popular. I don't have any sensory boxes. I'll make a roundup of other people's sensory boxes. And those never did well for me because, shocker, I was not an authority on sensory boxes, but they can do well on social. And that's why I say, like, there's a time and a place. And I'm not saying never make that type of content. If it's working well for you, lean in. That's fine. But what gets ignored a lot of the time is the top 5 things and you just share 5 from your own site. Ideas for X. And it's your 5 ideas because again, you're the expert. Not everybody else is the expert. It's keeping people on your site. It's getting your bounce rate to be how Google likes it because people are on one post on your site and then they go to another and then they go to another. Like there's a lot of technical value in those. There's a lot of building trust with your reader value in those. And the other downfall of linking out to other people, which I never say never. I'm not saying never link to someone else, but the issue with doing that is that if you have all of these posts that are linking to other people, if those people sell their blog, if they quit blogging, you're then ending up with a lot of 404s on your site, which is where like somebody clicks a button and they go nowhere. And Google hates that. And the robots know that happens and users know that happens and it's frustrating and it doesn't serve your reader well and it doesn't serve the robots well. And that's not something that you want to do. So if you are making those that link out to a lot of other people, it's important to monitor them and make sure that you remove any dead links often. I remove dead links from sites twice a year because I'm very vigilant about that. But that's something that you have to stay on top of, but you don't if it's your content. Because you know that your content's going to be good forever. So it's
kind of like this. So
there's multiple reasons to do it.
So let's say I am a craft blogger and I've been blogging for 5 years and over the years, I have a lot of Easter crafts. It would be taking those, let's say I've got 10 Easter crafts and creating a roundup of my Easter crafts. And maybe I've got some Easter recipes and I can put those in and it could be like, hey, here's how to throw an Easter party. And I've got printables or whatever. And so it's about slicing and dicing your own content in ways that can be useful for somebody who, let's say, is looking for Easter crafts. And I've got that roundup of just crafts, or I want to throw an Easter party and I've got food ideas and some activities. And now my crafts become party activities. So it's like how to serve up your content that you've already written in new ways to solve problems for different kinds of people searching for solutions.
Yes. And this circles back to the small wins as well, because it's a lot harder to win Easter crafts as a KW.
Keyword.
Somebody else is going to win that. Yes, as a keyword. I'm sorry. Somebody else is going to win that probably. most likely it's not going to be you. But Easter crafts for a 5-year-old is probably open. And you can step in with the 5 best Easter crafts for a 5-year-old. And like I said before, maybe 1,000 people search that during the whole month of Easter, but that's 1,000 page views versus I tried and I ranked on page 3 for Easter crafts, which is 1 million. And I didn't get any page views from all of my work rounding up this content from 50 other bloggers. And I had 101 ideas and they were all fun and they were all good. But you could have leaned into the 5-year-olds and then did another one for 7-year-olds and then did another one for twins or whatever the case may be, whatever fits with your content. But there's a lot of opportunity for smaller things where you could do the top 5 for smaller niche idea and actually win the term.
That is such good advice. All right. Number 5, cleaning up your content. We had a big debate about this and I think you won. Talk to me about it seems so awful to me, but okay. Talk to me about cleaning up your content. What are easy ways? First of all, why would I want to do this? And the easiest ways I could clean up my content because I've been blogging for over 10 years.
Yes. So the 10-year-old bloggers, and I'm in this category. We are the worst at having a lot of content that needs to be cleaned up and a lot of what's called thin content where there's just not much to it. Like when I cleaned this up on my own site, I used to do what was called a wordless Wednesday as a blog post. I don't know if you remember this. This was literally like 10, 15 years ago. And what you would do for a blog post was like wordless Wednesday, number whatever. And you posted a photo. And that was the whole blog post. And when I tell you, some things are not adding value to your site, that is what I'm talking about. Perfect example. Or I used to do roundup parties where you would like go drop your link on the thing and you would get up at like midnight to go put your link in fast. It's like, it's the wild things we used to do.
Or wait, I would do a blog post that says this: you were the 137th person to enter my giveaway. You won.
Yeah. Perfect example. Perfect example. So I'm not talking about necessarily like the journally heartfelt things that you wrote 15 years ago. That needs to be treated differently. But like the things that you can go, you know what? The internet does not need this and it needs to go. Delete it.
Okay. So you would say delete
if you're
those.
using Yoast, you can submit it in Yoast redirects, submit a 410 to Google. It's one of those things that sounds scary and it's literally 2 clicks. If you're using Yoast, you can go to their site and get a tutorial for it. It's so easy, I promise. You have to be on Yoast Premium to do it. And all that does is tell Google immediately that you deleted it, which will kind of flush it out of Google's system faster. But listen, if it's a wordless Wednesday post, it's not being ranked in Google for anything. You don't need to worry about it. If it's the 137th winner, you don't need to worry about it.
I love that. One thing you said that makes sense to me is you've got all this chuffa on your blog and you really want Google to look at you as an expert. So you, therefore, if I've got 1,000 blog posts and let's say 700 are chuffa or don't make sense or whatever, Google's looking at this as an entirety of 1,000 posts. And therefore they're only seeing those top posts that are really good, but it's like you're carrying all this dead weight. Therefore it makes sense to either unindex. Is that right? Where you're de-index, where you're telling Google, don't look at that. Like, don't think about this post as part of my blog. It's almost like ignore it or delete it.
Yeah. And I'm very cautious about this because I'm a paranoid person. And so I have like a whole steps that I go through when it's a longer form piece of content that I'm like, you know what, I really don't think that this is adding value. And I go double check that it hasn't gotten traffic. And I go look in Google Search Console and make sure that it's not ranking for anything that would surprise me. And that's for pieces of content that are like, I wrote this about baby sleep, but it wasn't that helpful. It was more of a rant of my baby's not sleeping than it was a helpful piece of content that I would like to present to the world in 2022.
Okay.
But I will still go double check if it's on topic, but just unhelpful. I will go check and see if it's getting traffic or if it's ranking for something then I may need to go in and update that and give it a facelift and write it how I would have written it in 2022 to just make it a helpful piece of content instead of outright deleting it.
Okay.
And I kind of take it by a case basis on those things.
So let's say I just want to delete my Wordless Wednesday posts and my yay, you won the raffle or you won the giveaway posts. What's the easiest way for me to find those posts and delete them and get rid of them? So that I could because otherwise if I have to go through one by one and search for them, that's a lot.
I mean, you could probably go into your categories or tags and look for things like if you used to categorize or tag things by like giveaway.
Yeah.
Or I had one that I had a tag for Wordless Wednesday. So that was very easy for me to go in and go to in my WordPress dashboard from the back end to go to categories, find my Wordless Wednesday tag, delete. And I submitted them all as 410s, which was an extra step, but it makes the process faster is all it does. You're not ruining anything if you don't take the time to do that. So that would be one way. I have also with certain sites, honestly, just gone to sitename.com/blog, clicked to the very end and just started. Been like, you know what? It's little by little. It's just, here's one less thing that I'm telling Google, this is what I'm about when I'm not. I'm not about Wordless Wednesday. I'm not about complaining about whatever, because if you've been blogging 10 years, you should just complain. It used to be like, let me vent on the internet, and I don't really want that out there anymore. Let me just get rid of that real quick. And it's just little by little, one by one, like for every post you publish, just go take down 2. And over time, take down or update or, whatever you need to do over time, that's going to clean up your site and make it that much healthier for robots and for humans, because everything has to be robots and humans. And the human side of this is if I go to your site and I type in baby sleep, your good articles are going to come up and the rant that you wrote when your baby wouldn't sleep at 2 o'clock in the morning when you were a 22-year-old new mom. Both of those are going to come up when I use the search bar on your site. But you want me to go to the good content. And so that's where either cleaning up, fixing, or deleting is helping your humans as well as your Google robots, because humans are going to then be driven to your best topics as well.
That is so helpful. Okay, to recap, these are the 5 tips. Stop ignoring your small wins. 2, but set yourself up for the big wins by having your content all make sense. 3, get out of Google Analytics, get into Search Console. 4, call yourself an expert. And my little added advice is fake it till you make it. And 5, clean up your content. But as Paula says, just little by little. You don't have to do it all tomorrow. Just to think in terms of how do I get rid of some dead weight and make all of my content make sense. If somebody wants to reach out to you with a question or to work with you, because a bunch of people, by the way, listen to these podcasts with you and then say, I want to work with you. So how can they then reach out to you with a question or for coaching, that kind of thing?
Okay. I make it really easy because everything's in my name. So if you have a specific question, paularollo@gmail.com.
Oh, wait, Paula Rollo, R-O-L-L-O.
Okay. Yep. And the same thing, my website's the same. So if you want to look at the SEO package of how I work with content creators, paularollo.com. And you can just click SEO right at the top and see how it works, how we can work together.
I love it. All right, Paula, this is so fun. We are friends IRL, so it's always really fun because we get to catch up, and you will, of course, be back doing this. And I feel like, again, your language speaks so well to female content creators who want to understand that SEO layer without being overwhelmed.
Yes, it should be fun and not scary. And if it feels scary, then just come talk to me and we can make it fun.
I love that. All right. Well, Paula, thank you so much for coming back on the show.
Thank you for having me.
I hope you guys got a lot of tips and new ideas in this episode. I know whenever I have Paula on, I always learn something new, or she highlights something that I need to be paying attention to. My biggest takeaway is always that SEO does make sense. Like if I can please Google, I ultimately please myself. And I think Paula's really good at explaining the logic behind how Google is seeing my content. And then it helps me write my posts with that in mind. So 2 things. 1, grab my blog post checklist by heading to milotree.com/blog post checklist. And 2, go check out MiloTree Cart. Add some products, build some sales pages. Really, it is light, it is easy, it is fun, and it will get you in the mindset of creating your own products, your own digital products that you can monetize and grow your income and live the life you have always dreamed of. And I will see you here again next week.